This woman hides steel saw blades inside ground meat, then asks someone to sneak it to her two lovers in prison. And just like that, they've got their tools. Time to get to work. David tears his clothes into strips, ties the rags to both ends of a saw blade with rubber bands, then snaps the blade in half. Next, he takes a nail clipper, ties it to one end of the cloth strip, and wraps the whole thing in thick rags. There, their tiny, homemade saw is ready. The two of them get moving. David keeps watch outside the cell, while Richard works on the inside. To muffle any noise, they wrap the bed legs in cloth. To cover their tracks, they use a magnet to pick up metal shavings. They watch each other's backs as they work, and soon, they cut through the vent cover. When they're done, they tape the cover back on, then paint over it to hide the cuts. You'd never notice it if you weren't looking closely. They plan to make their move after the lights go out. First, they use a mirror to check the hallway for guards. Then they stuff clothes and junk under the blankets to look like someone's sleeping. Next, they move the metal bed out of the way, peel off the tape, and gently lift the vent cover. Once they climb inside, they pull the bed back to its original spot, and drop the vent cover back into place. The two crawl through the pipes, moving quietly until they reach the bottom level. It's pitch black down there, but they can barely contain their excitement.
This is the first time in 12 years nobody knows where you are.
Finally, they decide to split up to cover more ground. They keep crawling through the pipes, going for what feels like forever with no end in sight. The next day, they meet up on the ground to compare their findings. That night, David crawls deeper into the pipes, and this time, he can see the prison's outer wall, but a thick concrete wall blocks his way. David tells Richard the news. They need a hammer to break through. Richard tells him there's a spare toolbox under the pipes, and inside, he'll find the hammer he needs. Days pass, and soon David starts hitting the outer wall. But this wall is over 2 meters thick, reinforced concrete with steel bars. Using that tiny hammer to break through? It'll take at least 8 years.